Welcome to the Kill Count, where we tally up the victims in all our favorite horror movies. I'm James A. Janice, and today we're looking at Seed of Chucky, released in 2004. Seed is hands down the most divisive movie in the Chucky franchise, as well as the directorial debut of series creator Don Mancini. After Bride of Chucky's success reinvigorated the series, Mancini wanted to push the envelope further.
I definitely wanted to do something that was as different from Bride as Bride was different from what had gone before that movie.
He leaned even more into comedy, with meta hijinks inspired by Wes Craven's New Nightmare. But while New Nightmare was a pretty sober movie, Seed is a campy domestic drama.
The sin I committed was that I was making a comedy where people wanted a horror movie.
In Seed, Chucky and Tiffany are the stars of an in-universe Chucky movie. Their co-star is Jennifer Tilly, played by Jennifer Tilly, who also returns to voice Tiffany the doll. They have to balance their murderous adventures with being new parents, since their hellspawn from the final moments of Bride has grown up and tracked them down. The kid questions what gender they'd like to be, as well as if they want to be a murderer. All of this takes place against a gothic aesthetic, with fake Hollywood landscapes comped into footage filmed in Romania. Oh, also, rapper Redman plays himself. There's a lot going on in Seed of Chucky is what I'm saying, and I can appreciate that it aimed for the fences. I enjoy its additions to the Chucky lore. Glenda, as voiced by Billy Boyd, is a delight, and more Tiffany is always a plus. Jennifer Tilly and Brad Dourif keep up the high-quality voice acting we've come to expect of them.
What is this shit?
But there's still something just off enough about this movie that keeps me from loving it. Maybe too many of the jokes fall flat for me.
But violence is bad.
Not violence. Violins. That screechy music's gonna ruin the goddamn country.
Or maybe there are too many shots of doll jizz. This is definitely the series at its most ribald. In the end, I'm happy the franchise took this weird detour to give us its most ridiculous moments. But I'm even more happy that Mancini shifted course afterward, because I do love everything that comes after Seed. Now, how's about we sidestep the problem where a copyright claim keeps me from making these things? That's right, it's sponsorship time! Manscaped is the global leader in men's grooming tools. I've relied on it in the past to get my body hair under control. I'm just kidding. I am naturally sleek like an otter. But even chest hairless me can use their Performance Package 4.0. It's a kit built to cover your 3 B's. Bullets, bombs, and blades. That's not right. Oh. Chucky, did you do this? Don't mess with my bag, man. Now we're talking body, butt, and balls. It starts with the Lawnmower 4.0, a waterproof trimmer with a built-in LED light that's perfect for cleaning up down below.
I am anatomically correct.
We've also got ball deodorant, a moisturizing lotion to keep things soft and fresh, and ball toner spray when you need a midday touch-up. You know, on your balls. Then there's the Weed Whacker nose and ear hair trimmer for those who need help keeping those areas hair-free. Even I use that one, despite my naturally otter sleek bod. Go to manscaped.com today to get 20% off and 2 free gifts when you use promo code KILLCOUNT20. Is it hard to keep up with killing when you've got a kid to take care of? Well, there's only one way to find out. The movie begins with the sticky miracle of life. Congratulations, it's a healthy baby title card. Now, this happens when 2 evil dolls love each other very much. The hammerhead sperm crashes into a Dragon Ball and makes the Ally McBeal baby. You should have learned all this in health class. We're a package being opened for a British birthday girl.
That's the ugliest thing I've ever seen in my whole life.
She doesn't like us, but we'll show her. First-time director Don Mancini plays this entire sequence in first person as an homage to the opening of Halloween. Just like in that movie, we wind up with a first-person kill when our hideous self stabs the daddy in the chest, then rides that English father down like he were the Lusitania. The POV carnage continues in the bathroom, done up in tasteful overlook chic. But we don't have to worry about Mum getting super old here. Our first-person psycho slashes her up, and she dies because she doesn't have those flower sticker things on the tub floor. Gotta get that non-slip, motherfuckers! The boobs we see here always felt out of place to me. It's the only nudity in the entire Chucky series. Well, human nudity. We don't get to kill the daughter who disgraced us. She bullies us more because, well...
You're pissing your pants! You're pissing your pants! You're pissing your pants!
Fear not, little meaties, 'twas all but a dream. A dream from Chucky and Tiffany's child, currently called... Demise! I'ma just call them Glenn, in line with the official marketing materials. Technically at this point, they're Glenn and Glenda, but Glenn's usually the dominant personality. Glenn's stuck as a sidekick for Sykes, this asshole, who sullies the good name of the International Ventriloquists competition. Yo, you know they get rowdy at the IVC! Sykes says he found Shitface 6 years ago in a cemetery, matching the real-life timeline of the films. Bride had come out 6 years earlier in 1998. Sykes' stand-up bit is about the doll's lack of bits.
This grotesque abomination, it ain't even anatomically correct.
Wonder when his Netflix special is. All Glenn knows about their past is that they're made in Japan, and they love to quote Anthony Perkins from Psycho.
I wouldn't even hurt a fly. Oh, there he goes. Back to his family.
Quoting Psycho? Yo, Glenn, you should meet my pal Billy Loomis.
We all go a little mad sometimes. Anthony Perkins, Psycho.
Glenn imagines their parents are lovely, peaceful dolls, not knowing that they're presently hunting Santa Claus for sport. They get him down and let him know what the doll sex scene in Bride will do to ya.
Fuck with your mind! Fuck with your mind! Fuck with your mind!
Chucky's broke again!
Turns out this is a film set for a movie starring Chuck and Tiff. After dying in an open grave and while giving birth, respectively, Chucky and Tiffany were found and rewired into robotic movie stars.
The dolls were found at the scene of a string of real-life murders which remain unsolved to this day.
Oh good, glad they're not keeping the dolls for evidence or anything like that. The title of their fake film debut is
Chucky Goes Psycho.
It's a patented recycled Mancini idea. In 2001, he wanted Chucky and Tiffany to check into the Bates Motel. Universal said no, because we can't have nice things. The Access Hollywood report is seen by Glenn on the far side of the world. They note their dad's matching wrist tat after the best sign-off I've ever seen.
Thank you, Chucky.
Fuck you very much.
Realizing they're not an orphan after all, Glenn ditches Sykes and rides off in the back of an open truck, just like their father never taught them. One Indiana Jones map later, and Glenn's in glamorous Los Angeles, California. Specifically, the Gower Street gate at Paramount Studios. A bit weird given the franchise's ties to Universal. While all the other Chucky sequels were distributed by Universal, the studio passed on Seed of Chucky. They thought it was too weird, too comedic, and quote, too gay. Mancini actually wrote the script for Seed right after Bride's success, but it was one of many horror movies impacted by Columbine. Between the then shocking school shooting and creative differences with the studio, the project sat dormant for 5 years until producer David Lindy read the script. A huge Chucky fan, Lindy helped Seed get made under Rogue Pictures, a subsidiary of Focus Features. He pretty much allowed Mancini to make the movie exactly how he wanted to. Chucky Goes Psycho co-stars Jennifer Tilly, like the actual Jennifer Tilly. Not that she's Jennifer Thrilled about that. She'd rather have Oscar roles like Julia Roberts.
I'm so tired of hearing about Julia Roberts. You know, I should have played Erin Brockovich. I could have done it without the Wonder Bra.
I love having Jennifer Tilly play Jennifer Tilly. It's a great loophole to see more Tilly in human form after Tiffany's Tubby Time death in Bride. She's so down with making fun of herself.
I mean, look at me. I'm an Oscar nominee for Christ's sake, and now I'm fucking a puppet.
Her well-meaning assistant Joan tells her about a role in a movie being made by rapper Redman, a religious role.
Virgin Mary.
What's so funny?
Nothing.
She's pretty bad in her audition, not that it matters. Redman spends the whole time staring at her tillies. Redman is very much not an actor, and it shows. But I guess it doesn't hurt the movie too badly. Despite his admiration for her talents, he says he's sticking with his first choice for the Virgin Mary.
Julia Roberts.
Jen invites him to her place that night, the better to convince him to give her the role. A comically hypocritical move after she earlier suggested Julia Roberts had done the same thing.
She slept with the director, that's what I think.
Jennifer, you know that's not true.
Mancini had to add those qualifiers to this combo to cover his ass legally.
The studio made us add the line with her assistant says, well, you know that's not true.
Glenn disembarks their FedEx class flight in Guillermo del Toro's basement. They pass about half the blood required for one shot in Cabin in the Woods and find Chucky and Tiffany sleeping peacefully. Aw, the grip tucked them in and everything. Glenn pulls out their family heirloom, the Heart of Damballa, continuing as canon after its introduction in Bride. All of a sudden, Glenn figures out their family words.
Ade due damballa.
Hey editor Josh, what's our incantation count up to at this point?
At this point in the series, we're at 10.
Thanks, bud. The spell works immediately. Presto, your parents.
Who the hell are you?
Shitface.
Chucky roasts Glenn for a few minutes, cause they're supposed to be hideously ugly. It took the filmmakers a long time to figure out just what kind of ugly they wanted the doll child to be.
I think we had 7 or 8 different sculptures of what Glenn could look like, still following the parameters that we were given, but kind of seeing how far we could push it in a couple different directions.
I still think they look like pinups era Bowie. It's still a face only a mother could love. Chucky's gonna need a minute. They freeze when they hear a tech coming. Because of their on-set malfunction, they're gonna need to get taken apart. This is actual effects artist Tony Gardner playing himself. We've seen his work in Freaky, Zombieland Double Tap, and Bones, and he designed the mask in Hellfest and Evil Ash in Army of Darkness. His work goes all the way back to the Thriller music video. He first met Chucky producer David Kirshner on Hocus Pocus, which they both worked on. With Seed, Gardner replaces longtime Chucky puppeteer Kevin Yeager. He signed on to the project with only 3 months to build the animatronics. Not a ton of time, but they ended up looking great. Gardner stuck with the franchise and remains with it to this very day. He even has a producer credit on the TV series. His daughter, Kira, made the upcoming documentary Living with Chucky, which is making the festival rounds. And to humble brag a little bit, she's actually a personal friend of mine. Hey, Kira.
Hey, James.
Hey, thanks a lot for that badass wedding gift.
Oh, you mean the screen-used Chucky shoe from season 1?
Yeah.
You're welcome.
When Tony unscrews Tiffany's back, he finds beating organs inside, presumably put there by the Dumbala effect, which, yeah, probably also gave Chucky his little peener. The dolls put a quick end to Gardner's acting career with an awesome death to give to the makeup guy. You gotta get killed pretty fucking hard to make a normal movie look 3D. That death deserves some yeah-yeah-yeahs for show. The two of them decide it's high time for a gender reveal party. It's a Ken! Chucky sees a chip off the old alphabet block, while Tiffany sees the daughter she's always wanted. He says, Glenn. She says,
Glenda.
The names are in reference to Ed Wood's 1953 film Glenn or Glenda, a clumsy but groundbreaking story, loosely inspired by the gender reassignment surgery of trans pioneer Christine Jorgensen. Before they can get either name down on the birth certificate, Jennifer Tilly sneaks into the shop to have herself a Snickers. Tiffany's never seen someone eat so beautifully.
Jennifer Tilly.
The fact that we have J. Tills saying her own name like that is hilarious. It reminds me of a very drunken episode of Drunk Disney.
Jennifer Tilly.
Her name is kind of Fertilly.
Jenny Fertilly. After mistaking it for a prop, Tilly realizes Tony's head is for reals. The police squad comes to Paramount as Jen gets a taste of the fame she's been missing.
Pete Peters, celebrities revealed. Jennifer, what did you see?
It's so overwhelming, she doesn't notice her chauffeur Stan rehearsing something he wants to say to her.
Jennifer, I love you.
So he'll just have to keep being her boy toy for now. Could be worse. The puppets sneak into the limo's back seat and admire the streets of Hollywood. Of course, all these shots were just filmed by a second unit. Most of Seed was filmed over in Romania at Castle Studios, which was co-founded by Charles Band in 1992. But the Chucky family isn't from Eastern Europe or East Asia.
We're not from Japan. We're from Jersey.
They decide that Tiffany will take over Jennifer Tilly's body. She can't wait.
She sounds just like an angel.
Chucky will take over Redman's.
I'm down with that.
Yeah, we know, Chucky. We remember Child's Play 3. As for Glenn/Glenda,
you're going to be a real-life girl.
Boy.
They're working on it. And Jennifer's working on a special night with Redman, even though it's sure to upset Stan.
Oh, come on, Stan, it's just business.
Tiffany takes the news even harder.
Oh my God, she's a complete slut.
They get to Jennifer Tilly's weird-ass Scooby-Doo murder house, where the toys hole up in the attic. Glenn asks their parents why they murder, and while Chucky defends it as a family tradition, Tiffany wants to set a better example for their kid.
We have a problem with killing.
She makes Chucky promise that he won't kill anymore. But you know that Charles Lee Ray, he just can't help himself. The dolls plan to use Chucky's sperm to artificially inseminate Jennifer Tilly. That way she can give birth to a body for Glenn or Glenda to use.
Hey, aren't you gonna give me a hand here?
Wonder how long it took Tony Gardner to make them doll titties. Of course, Chuck's gonna need more than a quick flash to make baby juice.
It takes 5 grown adult men to jerk off one small plastic puppet.
You learn something new every day, sometimes entirely against your will. Joan's been writing fake fan mail to Jennifer to make her feel better, but she takes a break to try to talk Jen out of sleeping with Redman for a role. When she gets too judgmental, Jennifer fires Joan, and she leaves right as Redman arrives for the one-on-one audition. As it gets started, Tiffany drugs the champagne, and Redman is too charming for Jennifer to notice.
Which of my films is your favorite?
That movie when you and that chick was making out?
Oh, Bound.
As things heat up, skeezy paparazzo Pete Pete Peters sneaks around outside, in a reference to Rear Window and Body Double. He ends up seeing more than he could have asked for.
A masturbating midget?
This line comes naturally out of John Waters' mouth. He is a legendary cult filmmaker whose career includes the transgressive classic Pink Flamingos and the original Hairspray, which he wrote and directed. Don Mancini found out Waters was a Chucky fan through Justin Whalen, the Child's Play 3 Andy actor who was in Waters' horror comedy Serial Mom.
I'm a big fan of Chucky. I think he's better than Jason, he's better than all of them, than Freddy, better than Norman Bates.
Redman's sick of waiting, so he grabs Jennifer's head and forces himself onto her. Tiffany cuts in and knocks the rapper out, then chastises Jennifer Tilly.
You should be ashamed of yourself. Where's your self-respect?
Jennifer looks for it, only to find Chucky waiting in the wings with his sperm donation. She tries to run, but Tiffany knocks her out with an award. The dolls drag their new bodies away, as Tiffany comments on Tilly's weight.
Fuck, she's fat.
This movie has a lot of mean comments towards Jennifer Tilly, all at the request of Tilly herself.
Jennifer completely mocks herself in this movie in a way that I think people will love her for.
She wanted to play her fictionalized self as a bitchy diva from hell. Mancini complied, initially going a bit too hard in the paint.
Actually, the first draft that he did, the studio rejected because they said, Jennifer Tilly is so unlikable.
As Tiffany prepares to go full blind man on Jennifer, Chucky notices Pete Peters sneaking away with pics. He scares his kid awake and takes off their bow so they can go out for a boys' night. Ignore the fact that the driving puppets negates a crucial plot point from Bride.
Sure, I'll steer and you can work the pedals.
I mean, yeah, that's exactly what they're doing right now, so I guess they just had to try it. They get cut off by Britney Spears, played by professional lookalike Nadia Dinah Arakat. The resemblance was so uncanny that some TV trailers included warnings that Spears wasn't really in the movie. She's not in it for long in any case. Chucky drives her off the road, killing Britney Spears in an explosion.
Oops, I did it again.
Again? Pretty sure that's the first time you've killed Britney Spears, right? At the paparazzi photo lab, Pete Peters learns his photo subject was a scary-looking scarred-up doll. That same doll is currently hanging out right above him. But before he can get the drop, Glenn tries to save Peters with her best Darth Vader impression. The ambush startles Peters back into a rack of sulfuric acid. Gotta be careful with those chemicals, Double P. That's how you end up looking like a supervillain. And you don't need a coin toss to know he did. Chucky is one proud papa.
You're a fucking natural.
He takes an old-fashioned selfie to commemorate baby's first kill. Back at the maternity ward, Tiffany gives herself over to the 12 steps for her murder addiction. She calls up the widow of Officer Bailey, the cop she killed in the beginning of Bride, and tries to make amends. It goes well, for her at least.
I feel better already.
Jennifer and Redman wake up with no memory of the toy assault, but signs of pregnancy are already there. She's thrown up in her bedazzled Jennifer Tilly bag. By dinner, Jennifer's learned the truth.
I'm pregnant.
She ain't no liar, but Redman says he can't be the Red Dad because he's had a vasectomy. Despite her going method with an immaculate conception, Redman fires Jennifer on the spot. Tiffany overhears and struggles with her murder sobriety. I like how this is played sincerely. Tilly's voice acting makes Tiffany sympathetic as she has a genuine connection with the recovery hotline operator.
But I'm not beating myself up over it. You know why, Tiffany?
Why?
Because Rome wasn't built in a day.
With permission to slip every once in a while, Tiffany allows herself to give Redman a second vasectomy. See, that's why you go to a licensed professional to get the snip, even if the surgery's cheaper in Romania. Don Mancini originally wanted Quentin Tarantino for the meta director role. That would have been much better, but hey, at least Redman was into it.
Opportunity knocked on my door for Chucky. I was like, I am there. You know, I go down in history for being on the Chucky movie.
Tiffany wants to keep this killing hush-hush, but Glenn's already eye-twitching from the stress. Calm down, Glenn. This ain't any worse than what they put on daytime TV.
They're executing Martha Stewart this morning.
I don't know if that's a misunderstanding or if it's what's actually happening in this universe, but I do know Tiffany must be distressed.
Who the fuck is Martha Stewart?
My idol.
Since this is a voodoo pregnancy, it's accelerated. Jennifer ain't got a baby bump, she's rocking a baby boulder. She calls Joan to freak out, but Tiffany hops on the other line and turns it into a who's on first routine.
Is it Redman's?
No, it's definitely not Redman's.
What?
It's definitely not Redman's. What an asshole.
What makes you say that?
Say what?
Before they can figure out what's on second, Chucky pounces on Jennifer and rides her like a pregnant mechanical bull. Tiffany has to come up with an excuse for all the yelling.
Well, Bound is on cable. Gina Gershon is fingering me.
They reference Bound so much in this movie and the Chucky TV series that I'm glad it's gonna have a nice payoff. Looks like Gina Gershon will make an appearance in Chucky Season 2. Chucky ties up Tilly and tries to grope her, the nasty little son of a bitch. Tiffany stops him, but what really upsets her is when she finds the picture of Chucky and Glenn with Pete Peters' body. From here on out, Seed of Chucky turns from a silly slasher into a violent soap opera.
It just seemed natural that we would now evolve into a domestic drama.
It won't be to everyone's liking, but it's an interesting part of Chucky history. Another argument over gender is broken up by Glenn/Glenda, who says they're not interested in choosing.
Sometimes I feel like a boy. Sometimes I feel like a girl. Can't I be both?
Yeah, why not? Don Mancini based Glenda's genderqueer struggle on his own experience coming out as gay. That's why I'll mention things like the fact that Don's gay. It informs his work. It's not part of some stupid, insidious agenda, you big babies. Now, changing gender norms is one thing, but Chucky draws the line at pacifism. He's done pretending he doesn't want to murder.
It's not an addiction, it is a choice. And it is not something that you should have to hide in the closet!
Oh shit, there's a dead man in the closet! And Tiffany's got some splaining to do. Since they don't have a body for Chucky anymore, they call up Jennifer's dopey chauffeur Stan. One black and white Hollywood sign storm later, they're ready to start swapping. Or, not like couple swapping. Well, I guess in a way sort of couple swapping. A lot of this movie takes place at Jennifer Tilly's mansion, a full-scale Spanish colonial home that production built on a soundstage. It helps that Castle Studios had the second biggest soundstage in Europe after Pinewood's 007 stage. The old Hollywood home and its outside was built to recreate a corner of Beverly Hills, with palm trees shipped in from Egypt. Again, I think it looks weird and artificial, but it's meant to. The locations are stylized environments, just like the dolls are stylized human beings. Working on a soundstage was necessary, since sets had to be built 6 feet off the ground, so the puppeteers could be underneath. A lot of the floors on set had removable tiles to make running cables easier. Making a Chucky movie is as much about engineering as it is about art. Lightning knocks out the power, and Joan the assistant knocks at the door. Chucky volunteers to kill Joan himself, so Tiffany won't have to call another hotline. Before he can get at her with a knife, she's toasted by a can of hairspray and an open flame. Joan backs up to the banister and for some reason climbs over it to fall to her death, sending her to S Club heaven. I always felt bad about this kill since Joan was so put upon and didn't deserve this. But that's the point. Mancini used this kill to remind the audience the dolls are in fact the bad guys, no matter how much they make us laugh with their crazy antics. Chucky tries to comfort his relapsed wife as only Charles Lee Ray can, by admitting to a few extra murders he's been hiding in the closet. When did these kills even happen? Dude's been alive for like 2 days. But it wasn't Tiff who fired Joan.
Glenn?
Guess again, Daddy.
Glenda?
That's my name. Don't you wear it out.
Mom and Pop are dumbfounded, but Glenda's already onto the quips.
I'm a real lady killer, if you catch my drift.
Possessed playthings grow up so fast. Turns out Glenn is the eye-twitching softie, and Glenda is the homicidal maniac bubbling underneath the surface. Her bloodlust has been keeping Glenn awake at night with violent nightmares. Tiffany smacks her son back to the wheel, and his reaction is heartbreaking.
What am I?
Glenn/Glenda is voiced by Billy Boyd, only a year after the last Lord of the Rings movie came out. Yeah, Chucky's gender-fluid kid is the fool of a took. His performance is just as good as Brad Dourif's and Jennifer Tilly's, able to switch seamlessly between funny and heartfelt. Boyd recorded his dialogue over 3 days in a session by himself in London.
Yeah, Dad. It'll be fun.
For Glenn's voice, the Scottish actor went with a Dickensian affect as requested by Mancini. For Glenda, he found inspiration from Brenda Blethyn's character in Secret and Lies.
Oh, you didn't have to do that, sweetheart.
As the parents argue about their doll kid, their human kid finally arrives, fresh out the Tilly.
It's a boy.
A boy.
Oh, thank God.
But wait a minute, are those more slip and slide noises I hear?
It's a girl.
It's a Christmas movie within a movie miracle. With more than enough bodies here, it's time for the post-gestation incantation. And because there are twins, Glenda can use both bodies. They don't have to choose a gender. Isn't that great, Chuck? Between the police and the pronouns, Chucky snaps.
Everybody, shut up!
He decides that after all these years of knee-high existence, he's done with the Duets and the Dambalas. He's fine staying a good guy now.
I am Chucky, the killer doll, and I dig it!
This is a big moment for Chucky. He's been trying to transfer his soul into a human body for more than 4 movies now. As always, Mancini wanted to stop doing the same old thing.
I was always, ambivalent at best about the whole idea of that Chucky having that goal. I just thought well, why can't this just be a doll that likes to kill people?
I'm proud of Chucky's newfound body acceptance, but Tiffany's not on board.
I want to be Jennifer Tilly.
She says she's leaving Chucky, and she's taking their kid with her. Shout out to the puppeteers for making it easy to forget that this is a scene about dolls getting divorced. As always, the animatronics required a ton of work from a whole bunch of people.
There's a huge army just to build the stuff and get it here, and then there's a huge army here to maintain it, rehearse it, and then perform it on set.
That small army included some unexpected recruits, like creature actor Doug Jones? What?
I'm working on Tiffany's glamorous arms.
Chucky and Tiffany were matched to their bride versions, but with a slight Hollywood makeover, befitting of their movie star status. Upgrades were made to make them more expressive, especially Tiffany, which Jennifer Tilly was really happy about. All 3 doll characters had multiple heads, some neutral, at least one screaming, and several sets of limbs to perform different actions. Various doll types were made, including mechanical ones, rod puppets, and floppy versions. I know you've heard all this in previous Chucky kill counts, but personally, I never get tired of seeing all these people work together to bring the dolls to life. The threat of divorce awakens Chucky's inner maniac.
Nobody leaves me. Nobody!
To keep Tiffany a doll, he tries to kill Tilly, but Stan jumps in front of her and takes the knife to his chest.
I love
He lost the chance to tell Jennifer Tilly how he really feels. Tiffany throws the knife back and knocks the magic words out of Chucky's tiny hands. The police breach the mansion door and Jennifer Tilly is taken to a hospital where she's kept away from her new babies since she's been talking about killer dolls. Tiffany drugs Jennifer's IV and is ready to get to the heart of Damballa of the matter when they get a visitor. It's Chucky with another Shining reference. He's gonna say the thing, isn't he?
I can't think of a thing to say.
Oh, really, man? You should have asked my dentist, Dr. Alan Feinstone.
Corned beef and cabbage.
Tiffany speed reads the rest of the incantation, but just as she reaches the end...
Nobody leaves me.
Can't marriage counsel your way back from that. Glenda breaks down in tears and gets one more lesson from Mom before she goes.
Don't make the same mistakes your mom and dad made. Especially your dad.
The stone cold hater to the end. Respect, Tiff. Rest in doll pieces. Glenda attempts to avenge their mother in the cutest match of Mortal Kombat ever played. I hear they're never gonna add Chucky to those games because he'd be too small, right? Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Faster than you can say, "Get over here!" The kid uses the axe just like their father taught him.
Glenda, it's me! Your boy!
Turns out Glenn and Glenda both have a little Lakeshore Strangler in them. Glenn proves it by cutting Chucky into body parts. The old toy man can't even be mad about it.
Attaboy.
Glenn wins.
Fatality.
Glenn is comforted by Jennifer Tilly before the movie jumps ahead to the faraway future of 2009. Tilly's fake-ass looking Hollywood home is hosting a birthday party for her twins, who are polar opposites.
Glenn, he's an angel, an absolute dream. But Glenda, she's a bad girl, Miss Tilly.
Yep, Raggedy Ann there is such a tyrant that new assistant Fulvia can't bear one more creepy staring contest with her. Good thing she won't have to, since she's beaten to death with the Tiffany doll. Turns out Jennifer Tilly's body is in fact now home to Tiffany Valentine's soul. When did that happen though? After Tiffany said the spell and Chucky fatally injured her doll body, she was giving motherly advice to Glenn. Was that Jennifer Tilly being nice to Glenn post body swap? Was Tiffany's soul in both J-Tills and the Tiffany doll? You need a different spell for that. I don't get it. While Glenda is proud to be Mommy's little murder accomplice, Glenn's just happy to be vibing.
Even though we had our differences, I know my dad really loved me.
The movie ends with one last birthday gift for him, an unmarked present with Chucky's severed arm inside. Ah, surprise! How many seeds never got to fully blossom thanks to a family of killer dolls? Let's grab Glenn and find out at the numbers. Oh, where did he go? How does this keep happening?
I don't have time for this shit.
Yeah. What the fuck are you doing down there?
Glenn said Joan should do another kill count.
Okay, man, you got it. October 7th, all right?
Yeah, October 7th, Dude Bro Party Massacre 3. Woohoo! Shit, I gotta go right.
14 people died in Seed of Chucky. Of those, 6 were women, 7 were men, and 1 was a red man. Now it's time for everyone's favorite extra information. Chucky had 7 solo or joint kills, with an incineration, 4 blade kills, which includes an axe, an off-screen suffocation, and the piano wire decapitation, filed under MISC. Tiffany only had 3 kills, that miscellaneous decap, red man stabbing, and Fulvia's beating with the Tiffany doll. And now Glenda's in the mix too, with 5 kills. They stabbed a dad, broke a mom's neck, lit Joan on fire, used an axe on Chuck, and got a miscellaneous acid face melt. Here's how the puppet kills stack up after this movie. Oh wow, way to catch up to Mom Glenn/Glenda. And here's the installment comparisons, with Seed tying Bride for the lead-in kills. Finally, a runtime of 87 minutes left us with a kill on average every 6.21 minutes. I'll give the golden chainsaw for coolest kill to Pete Peters for that face melt. It's not my favorite CG, but where else are you gonna see John Waters with half his head looking like a pepperoni pizza? Dull machete for lamest kill will go to Stan the chauffeur man, whose death was as pathetic as his character. And champion chuckle for funniest part is gonna go to a dark horse line.
They're executing Martha Stewart this morning.
Tiffany's super serious line reading and likely misreading of the situation just makes me laugh every fucking time. And that's it. Seed of Chucky came out in 2004, and while Focus Features pushed for a more traditional follow-up starring Glenn, Mancini wouldn't play with his toys again for almost a decade. I'll show you next time, but until then, I'm James A. Janice. This has been The Kill Count.
On the next Kill Count.
After being lost in the metaverse for 2 films, it's time for Chucky to go back to basics.
Hi, I'm Chucky, and I'm your friend till the end.
That one's a classic. Curse of Chucky sees a maturation of Don Mancini's direction as he takes the killer doll back to his horror roots.
Chucky, I'm scared.
You fucking should be.
It's more like the original than any sequel since, even if he's gotten a makeover.
He's cute, if you say so.
Chucky replaces his family with a new one that includes Nika Pierce, played by Brad Dourif's real-life daughter, Fiona.
I've always had a thing for family.
But don't worry, Chucky's still the same one-liner spouting good guy we all know and love.
Women can't live with them, period.
This week, fall under Chucky's curse by watching a beautifully shot gothic horror film. Then on Sunday, join us as we serve up the Kill Count Recount.
This is just the way my mama used to make it.
Only on Dead Meat.
I'm gonna get you.
Curse of Chucky can currently be watched on the pictured streaming platforms. Dead Meat always recommends you watch the movie for yourself before its kill count. It's the only way to have your own properly informed opinion. Kill counts are never meant to replace the experience of watching a film.
Hey everybody, thanks a lot for watching this Kill Count Recount, and thank you, Kira, for coming over for a cameo.
You're welcome, my pleasure.
Yeah, so what's Living with Chucky, what's the deal with it?
It's playing at Fantastic Fest in Austin, Texas this month, the 25th, I believe, and then it comes to LA October 15th at 8 p.m. at Screamfest. It's right after Monster Palooza, so you can just go from there to our screening, which James should also be at.
I should also be at that screening, and I'll be at Son of Monster Palooza, so yeah, that's a very horrific weekend. Is that October 15th that your movie is playing?
Yeah.
That's my mom's birthday.
Oh my gosh, happy birthday, Mom.
Happy birthday, Mom. She follows you on TikTok and she loves
Really?
you. Yeah.
Oh, I just like keep my eye out for her comments.
I think she's left some. She's like very
I'm the
excited.
worst.
Okay, you can go. Okay, Kira left, so I'm gonna thank some patrons. Thanks Melissa Dick, Naya, Nick Rivera, No It's Just Joe, Old House Dreams, Olivia Bushman, Polf, Reeves, and Rolando Castillo. Thanks everyone. Be good people.